because they are easy.
1, 0.
But because they are hard.
Liftoff. Artemis II.
Bound for the moon. This is a new frontier.
There's nothing normal about this. Sending 4 humans 250,000 miles away is a Herculean effort.
Artemis II, the historic mission to the moon.
The 4 astronauts making history, flying further from Earth than any humans before them.
Today, for all humanity, you're pushing beyond that frontier.
We choose this moment to challenge this generation and the next to make sure this record is not long-lived.
History being made, beginning to see parts of the far side of the moon.
It is absolutely spectacular.
We can actually see the moon and Earth at the same time right now. Just absolutely phenomenal. You guys look great.
And now, 4 astronauts coming home. Reporting from ABC News headquarters in New York, David Muir.
Those 4 heroes almost here. Good evening, everyone. We are coming back on the air tonight because at this very moment, the crew of Artemis II is in the final stages of this historic and truly inspiring journey from the Earth around the moon and back, the first human mission to the moon in more than 50 years. Take a live look at this hour. The crew will be traveling at roughly 24,000 miles per hour when they re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. That'll be at about 7:53 Eastern, so just about 20 minutes from now. Now, NASA is planning splashdown at about 8:07 Eastern time, right off the coast of Southern California, near San Diego. We'll be listening to communications between Mission Control and the crew throughout the night here. Just moments from now, the 4 astronauts in the Orion capsule will detach from the service module, as it's called, which has provided propulsion and power, and then soon after, inside their own capsule, they will soon re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. Now, this mission, one for the history books already, liftoff, captivating people all over the world, right here in the U.S., of course. That rocket, taller than the Statue of Liberty from the top to the bottom, weighing nearly 6 million pounds when it blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center. This was just 10 days ago. The crew sending back spectacular images during their voyage around the far side of the moon, viewing parts of the lunar surface never before seen by human eyes. The Earth visible in the distance just below the moon's horizon there. The astronauts' emotional group hug, one of the many displays of their close bond and teamwork. And right now, it'll be up to NASA to complete the final hurdle to get them home back to their families. My family right here, our team here in Southern California, and right here in the studio with me to witness this final leg of this historic journey with all of you at home watching tonight. And so many of us have said this is something that has been such a wonderful break from everything else we've been watching on the news and taking in these historic images coming in from space. And as you can see there on the clock, 19 minutes to go. That is until re-entry. This is the separation you're looking right now. Let's listen.
Service module separation. And a great view, albeit momentarily.
Houston, good stuff on board.
Houston copies and concurs.
The European service module now separated from integrity. A job well done.
Job well done. We like hearing those words. The separation of the module from the capsule still carrying the astronauts. That capsule now will have to be angled just right for re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. And as I mentioned, going at about 24,000 miles per hour, it'll be tested, that heat shield, which we might see in some of these images being beamed back by the capsule and fed to us live by NASA at this hour. This feed will probably be going in and out like we've seen these last couple of moments. It'll face a real test. This is Mission Control, of course. The real test comes at about 7:53. That's the re-entry into the atmosphere facing blistering heat. Temperatures nearing 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. We're talking about temperatures that we don't talk about unless we're talking about the surface of the sun. That's what that capsule will face. The heat shield will, of course, protect the astronauts. But I loved hearing job well done, the first part of this crucial phase, which they said would happen at about 7:33, and NASA keeps a tight clock going, right? Susan Kilrain with us here, former NASA astronaut, youngest person, one of only 3 women to pilot the space shuttle. Susan, you've been great for this entire 10-day journey, giving us sort of a window into this. You know, I've been listening to so many former astronauts, retired astronauts, who have said, you know, the real nerves, the real anxiety is back here on Earth for the rest of us. The astronauts doing the work up there, they're just trying to get home.
And they're just doing their jobs, and they have trained for it for years, and so they're ready. They're strapped into their seats, they're ready. This is a momentous occasion. It all comes down to the re-entry and those parachutes deploying on time and slowing them down so they can safely land in the water.
So take us inside the capsule, the module, inside Orion right now. The visors come down. They have what are called essentially umbilicals that send in cool air. And they're fully aware of this real test that lies ahead here at 7:53, that intense heat. Take us inside the module. Do they sense any of that other than just simply the knowledge of what they're about to go through?
Oh, they'll be able to see it. They'll be able to see it. It looks similar to if you're flying inside a fireball, and it gets so hot on the outside surfaces that you're seeing, yellows and oranges and reds and even whites, which is, the hottest. It's not really fire, it's more like friction, but the temperature, they'll be able to see it. And you're right, they will stay cool inside their spacesuits. And that will keep them at a reasonable temperature. They're also wearing their compression garments because they're going to start feeling the G-forces.
And how long will they feel that for? You said they can actually feel the shaking of the capsule. They'll see it with their own eyes. How long does it last?
The entire reentry is several minutes, and we will lose comm. We'll lose communications. The ground will not be able to talk to them, and they won't be able to talk to the ground during that time either. So it's the glorious time when you hear that they're back in communications after that re-entry.
Yeah, so don't be alarmed at home when we go into that 6 minutes of silence from the capsule. Let's take a look right now at Mission Control. Let's listen in. They're, of course, in contact with the astronauts. Job well done with the module.
Integrity.
Coming
Good.
apart. Let's listen.
CM rays burn. Your flight path angle is within limits.
The rays burn. You can see there the clock in the corner. 15 minutes now until re-entry.
Let's go aboard, Jackie.
It's really incredible.
So the final maneuver is now complete. Our trajectory for a splashdown in the Pacific 29 minutes from now is set and will not be amended further. And we have the right angle of attack to mitigate any excessive heat loads on the vehicle during entry interface.
Integrity Houston, a heads up about comm coverage. When you perform the 180 roll, for the first minute or so in that attitude, we expect about a minute LOS.
So just to let you know what's just happened is that final turn of the capsule to make sure it hits re-entry at precisely the right angle. To make sure that they deal with as little of the heat as possible, right? Essentially, they know they're going to hit 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit GO, but when they say that mission accomplished, at least in this part of the journey, that's the crucial moment where they do the final preparation of the angle with which they'll re-enter the Earth's atmosphere.
The angle, and they want to separate the capsule from that service module. They want to give it enough separation so that they're not too close to each other as they both re-enter the atmosphere, because remember, they're both going to be hitting the Earth's atmosphere at that 5,000 degrees. And that is so crucial. That heat shield is so crucial. We've been talking about this being the most dangerous moment of the entire mission, and that's for a reason. But I should tell you, when we tested this back in 2022 with Artemis I, there were some issues with the protective coating, the thermal coating on that heat shield. There was some cracking that they found later on, but the capsule did survive, and that's what was critical. And in this case, in this entire mission, this Orion capsule has performed better than anyone expected.
And NASA has repeatedly said that they are confident. They did a number of tests, significant testing, in fact, after the previous mission to make sure that that heat shield could withstand what we're about to witness here.
Exactly right, because that is exactly what you don't want. You don't want anything chipping away. You don't want anything cracking, because what was happening was that basically that heat was building up under that protective coating, and it was cracking that. So you don't want anything that could endanger this crew.
Susan, what do you make of the heat shield? The fact that we're going into this, we saw some of the tests the last time, NASA saying, and you're a part of NASA, and you know they work hard to make sure everything is absolutely foolproof as they go into these missions, as they are about to face this crucial test.
That's right. They would not have sent these 4 astronauts in this mission if they weren't 100% confident that the heat shield could withstand these temperatures for that amount of time. They changed the trajectory before they shallowed it out so that they didn't get up to 5,000 degrees on Artemis 1, but they were under the temperature for a very long time, longer than they're going to do today. So they'll get up to 5,000 degrees, but the length of time they'll experience it will be much shorter.
It's really fascinating, Susan, how you described. You'll see flashes of red and even the white, which signals the warmest of the fire and the flames. They go into a communications blackout, as you say, because of the plasma and the heat, but that is expected. Don't be alarmed again at home for those 6 minutes or so when we won't hear from the astronauts. We're going to keep an ear very close to what we're hearing from Mission Control, but I wanted to show you at home what we've been talking about. This is one of the most critical components of the Orion capsules, the heat shield, protecting the astronauts during re-entry. Set Orion's course for re-entry to try to ensure that the shield spends as little time as possible in that extreme heat. The heat shield is the only thing standing between the crew and, of course, the danger they face as they re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. So the Artemis II astronauts will re-enter the atmosphere at about 7:53 here. We have 11 minutes to go before we witness this moment. The capsule generating a tremendous amount of heat as the atmosphere slows down their spacecraft up to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But as Susan said, that's a split moment. The numbers then begin to decrease almost immediately. But the astronauts are fully aware of the heat that they're facing. Even in the capsule, they'll see it. The heat shield here at the bottom of the crew capsule, you saw it there in the animation as you're looking at right now, but you saw the real thing just moments ago. It protects them from the heat. It spans about 16.5 feet in diameter. It's comprised of about 186 tiles or so fitted onto a titanium and composite frame. It's designed to burn off during re-entry to protect the astronauts, transferring the heat away from the spacecraft. And again, NASA has repeatedly said that they did a number of tests after the first Artemis mission to make sure that this heat shield was up to the task that we will witness here tonight. Let's listen back in Mission Control.
The parachutes will ultimately slow Integrity down from its peak speed of almost 33 times the speed of sound to a gentle 19 miles an hour as splashdown.
They're talking about the significant parachute system that they have in place, a series of parachutes actually that will begin to deploy.
The is now currently in a roll to the proper attitude for entry interface. Our trajectory is right on according to flight dynamics.
Trajectory right on, which means 10 minutes from now we'll see that crucial re-entry followed by 13 minutes before splashdown. Those 13 minutes will include about 6 minutes when we will not be hearing from the astronauts themselves. That again is expected. That's because of the intense heat, the plasma that basically engulfs the capsule.
Integrity is on a trajectory from southwest and northeast across the Pacific Ocean, descending at a rate of 15,000 feet per second.
It's like co-anchoring with NASA, only you don't know when they're going to talk. So you just want to let them explain because it's really fascinating. There is the path right there. And just so you know, there are a team of not only NASA employees, the NASA medical team, but also members of the U.S. Navy. The USS John Murtha is stationed near the splashdown zone. Navy divers will immediately race to that capsule. They will inspect it. They will put around the capsule basically an inflatable raft, if you will, that's called sort of the front porch, is what they've nicknamed it. They'll inspect the capsule itself.
The EI roll 180 student.
As they prepare for this crucial moment 8 minutes from now. Let's listen.
This view out of one of Integrity's windows. We had a call for 3 good barrows. Those are barometric pressure sensors that feed altitude and rate of descent information to Integrity's computers that will trigger the parachute deployment sequence. We are less than 9 minutes away from entry interface, 22 minutes from splashdown.
You're hearing the NASA reference to the timing here. They're talking about the splashdown, which of course is the moment we will all celebrate, the splashdown in the Pacific. The countdown that we have up in the corner of the screen is just really as a guide for all of you at home to know the steps of this. The next crucial step is about 7 minutes from now. It's coming up very shortly, 7 minutes, 45 seconds or so until this crucial re-entry.
The weather conditions remain
Traveling about 24,000 miles an hour. You can see the reflection, if you will, of one of the crew members in the screen there. Susan had told us before they'll be able to see the heat as they pass through it.
a gentle day in the
It's extraordinary to think that they'll be traveling as fast as 24,000 miles an hour when they hit that moment, 32 times the speed of sound, 45 times faster than a commercial airliner. Will Reeve is standing by live in Southern California, right there on the coast, the splashdown site not far from where Will is. And Will, the big question is, will we hear a sonic boom, which is expected sometime after 8 o'clock Eastern?
That's right, David. Good evening to you here on the beach in Coronado, right around the San Diego area. Just miles out that way is where we are expecting splashdown, and we're told that in about 20 or so minutes we will possibly hear a sonic boom. That is the capsule making its arrival very well heard around here as it plummets to Earth. And I keep thinking about the fact that these astronauts are going in, re-entering Earth's atmosphere head first at 4 Gs. That's like going on a roller coaster from 400,000 feet in the air head first toward the ocean. That is what they will be dealing with, and we will hear the sonic boom, and that will be the announcement of the Orion making its presence known here, and then the rest of the recovery operations hopefully will go underway smoothly.
We're all hoping for that. We'll stay tuned with us for the coverage. We've been listening into Mission Control. They say the configuration for re-entry has been achieved. One more sign that they believe that they are, in fact, for this re-entry, which is now just 5 minutes, just under 6 minutes from now.
No action required.
I want to bring in Leslie Lopez, meteorologist. Many of you watching in the West at this hour are very familiar with Leslie from her work on KABC. She has joined ABC News, the network now, as a meteorologist. And so what a night to join us, Leslie. What a moment of history to witness. And I'm glad you're part of the team and here to witness this with us. And the weather, I'm glad about that too. What are you seeing?
Thank you. Oh, fabulous. David, thank you so much. That was a really wonderful, warm welcome. It's great to be here on the West Coast. It's a beautiful day. You'll notice, though, the wind is going, and that is one of the criteria for re-entry for the recovery. So let's talk about what this is all looking like as far as the weather picture is concerned, and do we have all the criteria that will make this a successful splashdown? Right now, the recovery criteria, you're looking at it, wave height under 6 feet. Yes, we have that. Winds, they are right around 10 miles per hour at the moment. They need to be under 28, so we're good. That's a go. Also looking at visibility and cloud coverage. Now, we do have a cloud layer. If you know anything about San Diego, that coastal eddy, that's that cloud layer that banks up against the coastline. That is going to be there. However, the good news is you're going to see the cloud ceiling. That's from the ocean up to the bottom of that cloud. There's enough room there for that recovery effort from an aerial standpoint to still continue. So that continues to be a go. But there will be a period where we won't see the vessel coming through a layer of clouds, and then it'll reappear, and hopefully that's going to be great, and we're going to get all the aerial support needed. And then, of course, there's vessels in the ocean getting ready for that. There is a storm I do want to mention that is just to the north into Northern California, Central California. Timing couldn't be better. That doesn't arrive till tomorrow. So again, this is all looking very successful and positive as far as the weather picture is concerned for the splashdown. David.
All right, 3 minutes, 55 seconds left until re-entry. Leslie Lopez, ABC News meteorologist, telling us essentially that the weather is cooperating significantly here. A number of factors around the splash zone, but not the zone itself, which is really encouraging to hear. Mission Control saying just moments ago that it will be, as we were saying earlier, a true 6 minutes of silence from these astronauts when they re-enter the atmosphere in about 3.5 minutes from now. Susan, as those astronauts like to say, they're just doing the work, but are you feeling the nerves right now?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I like to think of how the families are feeling.
Yeah.
The families are probably extremely nervous, and I get that. I mean, I understand that. They are going, I mean, we're looking for 3 things to happen perfectly. The attitude is set. They have to maintain that attitude. The heat shield has to hold, and the parachutes have to do their job. And those families aren't going to be happy until their loved ones are on that Navy ship.
That is completely understandable. In fact, we've kept sort of an arm's length from the families. I know they're very proud of their loved ones, but they want to see them home before they then tell us about what this has been like. And we get that, as you understand firsthand. Let's listen in, because we're just about 2 minutes away. Let's listen to Mission Control.
3 minutes from entry interface. "16.5 minutes till splashdown."
So 2 minutes to re-entry, 16 minutes until splashdown.
The USS John P. Murtha and the recovery team is on station and in position, as are the airborne imagery assets that we hope to receive imagery from as Artemis enters the Earth's atmosphere and through parachute deployment.
And Susan, take us inside NASA right now, because they too have spoken often about the tension, the anxiety, the concern that they feel. You know, they're doing their jobs too, but they feel it back at Mission Control.
Absolutely. They're on the world stage. And I used to sit at the Capcom desk for shuttle launches and re-entries. And yeah, it's a nervous time. But everybody is hyper-focused on their particular job.
No issues with the crew. And the weather at the splashdown site is go.
NASA confirming what we heard from Leslie there in Southern California, that the weather is a go. Something they have watched for days, these weather systems and the patterns. It is a go for splashdown. We're about 1 minute away from re-entry. And again, we've mentioned it here, but for those of you just joining us, this is ABC News live coverage of Artemis II returning from its historic journey around the moon and back.
Coming up on 1 minute until entry interface.
You know, the launch 10 days ago is also high anxiety. But after that moment, getting through this historic journey, the next major test is the one about 30 seconds away now, the re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere, 24,000 miles per hour, facing...
Mark 1 minute until entry interface.
1 minute, they're saying. We can take our countdown down now to listen into NASA
start of our 6-minute blackout
for this critical moment. Let's listen.
Integrity, 1 minute to a 6-minute blackout.
Integrity.
Again, the re-entry at any moment. We will not be hearing from the astronauts on integrity.
10 seconds till entry interface. And we have crossed the threshold, now entering the Earth's atmosphere. We're at 400,000 feet, traveling 34,800 feet per second. Time to splash down, 13 minutes, 10 seconds.
This is incredible to witness, and Susan, I gather that's some of the heat right there.
Yes, that's the plasma.
The plasma and the heat surrounding this capsule.
And as predicted, we've entered our communications blackout.
Is what leads to the blackout.
This will be a 6-minute blackout period. No voice, no data from the crew.
No voice, no data from the crew, as we're hearing from NASA right now. Dr. Hakeem Oluseyi, an astrophysicist, science educator, has been with us for our coverage these last 10 days. And Hakeem, you've been great throughout. This is one of the most anxious times of the entire journey.
This is the true test of our trajectory.
Absolutely it is. I am sitting on the edge of my seat just like the rest of you, waiting to see these parachutes deploy and a safe splashdown.
Aircraft in the vicinity of the splashdown.
Let's listen back into NASA, and again, they'll let us know in about 5 minutes now if they have regained communication with those 4 astronauts.
As it enters the period of peak heating in the Earth's atmosphere, the first tug of gravity being felt by Integrity's astronauts, since their launch back on April 1st.
And of course, we are thinking of the families of pilot Victor Glover, mission pilot, Reed Weissman, the
4.5
commander.
minutes until the end of the blackout period.
Christina Cook, 4.5 minutes to go until we hear from them again.
Time
Jeremy
to splash
Hansen,
down, 11 minutes, 33 seconds.
of course, the Canadian astronaut. Everyone on board making history in their own way. The first Canadian to join them in a mission to the moon. This is the first time in many decades since the Apollo missions that we have sent humans back to the moon, and they made their own history, traveling farther than any astronauts who went before them, going to the far side of the moon and seeing with human eyes parts of the moon that have never been seen before, and sending back messages of hope and those extraordinary images. They have talked during the press conferences
The
about
landing and support officer reports that the P-3 has acquisition on integrity.
about the importance of coming home. It was Victor Glover himself who said,
3.5 minutes left in this blackout
there you
period.
see it,
This is a visualization
a visualization.
of
So this is similar to the simulations we showed you earlier, only this one is from NASA. Let's listen.
repelling of that heat on integrity's heat shield.
I was saying Victor Glover, the mission pilot, was asked, what is he most looking forward to? And he said splashdown. And who could argue with that? He also talked about this being like riding a fireball through the atmosphere, this incredible moment. And this visualization from NASA helps to explain this, why there would be a blackout during this period of time. The families of all of these astronauts.
Flight Dynamics reports that airborne assets in the vicinity of the splashdown zone do have a visual on integrity. Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in our blackout period. Time to splashdown, 9 minutes, 35 seconds.
9 minutes until splashdown. Let's keep this visualization, but if we could add, Dave, our director in the control room, Trevor Roll, who is at a watch party at the San Diego Air and Space Museum. And Trevor, I gather the nerves can be felt in that room right now.
Absolutely, David, and what we are seeing is basically every single checkpoint that's being hit is being met with thunderous applause. You can hear a smattering right now. That's been happening continuously, 30 seconds after 30 seconds after 30 seconds after, and what we've been seeing are generations of families experiencing something that many of these people have never experienced before. I talked with one man here, an 86-year-old grandfather. He said he remembers watching the very first space launches. He remembers the Apollo flights. He remembers those first lunar missions. It inspired him to become a pilot and an engineer. Now, after 45 years of his own flight, he's retired. He is back here tonight with his grandchildren watching Artemis. And then at the same time, we're hearing from young people. There's two people behind me here, Lena, Olivia. These are students at the UC San Diego who told me that they can't believe, when they learned about Artemis, they said, I can't believe it's happening in real life and not in the movies. That's how long it has been. What we've been hearing from family after family is that this is something that feels like a previous America would accomplish. Now, of course, we're in that tight window. Will it land safely? And of course, we know everyone's waiting on bated breath, but they are optimistic, David.
No question about that. A lot of optimism and a lot of prayers across this country tonight as we watch and wait for Artemis II to emerge in communication.
Standing by for communications from the crew. We
rejoined.
should be out of the blackout period less than a minute from now.
All right, let's listen. Less than a minute here to see if we can regain communications with the 4 astronauts on board: Victor Glover, Reed Weissman, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen.
We are now processing data from integrity.
Which is a very good sign, right, Susan, that they are getting data. No communications yet with the astronauts, but they are receiving transmission from integrity.
Well, this is great news.
Landing and support officer reports the small boats are en route to the splashdown target zone.
The vessels carrying the divers, members of the U.S. Navy standing by to race to that splashdown zone. And Susan, tell us what we're looking at right here.
It's the visual. It's the camera view of the reentry. It's no longer a visualization. And, you know, it looks healthy.
Well, they mentioned 6 minutes. We knew they would be 6 excruciating minutes, particularly.
Passing through 150,000 feet, our trajectory is perfect. We're getting intermittent views of integrity. Still waiting to establish voice communication.
Integrity, Houston, comm check, post blackout.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Incredible.
Your trajectory is nominal and your recovery teams have visual.
So there you
Guys,
go.
looks good.
Artemis II responding
No action for the enabled internal camera controller fail.
to mission control.
Big cheers from the viewing room here in Mission Control as voice communication reestablished with Commander Reed Wiseman. For America and a waiting world, Integrity is 5.5 minutes away from coming home.
Well, it's not often when you sit here at the anchor desk when you feel chills. This is certainly one of them. History being made tonight, Artemis II, the first
Passing
mission
100,000 feet now.
in many decades taking humans back to the moon. In fact, they went farther than
Range to splash down 19 nautical miles.
19 nautical miles until splashdown. We were expecting it at about 8:06 or so Eastern time, 8:07 perhaps. So just about 5 minutes from now. They mentioned those divers are already en route. They clearly know where, certainly the
Integrity, impact to the camera controller fail is no tab 1 views of the chutes.
we were expecting, hoping that we might get a view of some of these parachutes, though we're not entirely sure we
We're
will.
processing good data through the GPS system. A good view of Integrity. Time to splash down 4.5 minutes.
4.5 minutes to splashdown. There's an elaborate sequence of parachutes here. The first deployed at
And a
around.
view of Integrity from the WB-57.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're at 50,000 feet.
At around 22,000 feet, you'll see the first parachutes here. Part of this sequence of chutes. I saw some movement right there. Was that a... There it is. You can see a flash of something. Not entirely
Not
sure.
yet.
It's one of the
Pyros
chutes.
are armed for forward bay cover jettison.
A flicker of something just above.
Here, you're going to see the jettison and then the drogue chutes.
And they deploy at about 22,000 feet, right,
Right,
Susan?
and they're the first ones to come out.
Yeah.
There they are.
There they are.
There they are right there.
And then
And there
there
go
you
the
go.
first series of
other ones right
parachutes.
away.
And we're on drogues.
And Houston, we're visual 2 drones out the window.
The drogue.
Those parachutes right there will slow the spacecraft to about 200
drone
miles an
chutes.
hour.
Next up,
We copy, we see them.
the deployment of pilot parachutes that will pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Well, it's just incredible to think 4 human beings inside that capsule, right? Who have just seen the far side of the moon and come back to tell us about it. And what a bond we've witnessed from them. The hug,
Perfect descent rate according to flight dynamics.
Good rate on 2 drogues.
the symbol of the heart in their
We keep the
photographs
same on board.
that they sent back. And they named one of the craters in the moon that they discovered themselves after Reed Wiseman's late wife, Carol. She died in 2020 of cancer. They'd been together for decades. And one of his fellow astronauts
Passing through 10,000 feet.
spoke of the moment.
Still on drogues.
Because Reed couldn't say it himself, though he was moved, certainly, that the astronauts decided, let's name it after your late wife, Carol. So many stories they'll share with us. There's the second set right there.
Main chute deploy. We're at 5,000 feet.
The crew
Search and
met with-
recovery beacon has been activated on Integrity.
the search and recovery beacon activated for those Navy divers who are
And we
now
have
racing
3
to the
main
site.
chutes.
Out the window.
Good 3 main chutes, good reefing, good descent rate.
Rates, and we see 3 good-looking parachutes.
This is picture perfect.
Integrity. Cabin pressure indicates no need for hydrazine checks.
Integrity copies.
This is a perfect descent for Integrity. Its crew sounding hale and hearty on board.
Glad to hear it.
Time to splashdown 1 minute, 15 seconds.
1 minute, 15 seconds until splashdown in the Pacific Ocean off of San Diego. The USS John Murtha is in the region. Navy divers will race to the craft. They will deploy that inflatable around the
Integrity
capsule.
about to complete a journey spanning 694,481 miles from its launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st, and a trip around the moon.
I mean, these are words you have not heard in decades in this country. There are a lot of viewers watching tonight who remember this from the Apollo mission, several of them, those missions, but of course, a whole younger generation witnessing something that they've only read about in the history books. A little flash there of the capsule.
Passing through 1,000 feet.
Those 3 parachutes, of course, the end of that sequence, and certainly the ones that are doing most of the work in trying to slow this capsule, slow Integrity down to about 20 miles per hour. There's the splashdown.
Splashdown confirmed.
Copy splashdown, waiting on VLDR.
Splashdown confirmed at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time.
Which, by the way, is exactly when NASA said it would happen, 7 minutes past the hour.
A new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete. Integrity's astronauts back on Earth.
Back on Earth, in the Pacific. The divers will get there. They will look at the outside of Integrity to make sure.
And the landing and support officer reports the vehicle is stable 1.
Stable, there you go.
We still will be deploying the crew module uprighting system to maintain that orientation. A perfect bullseye splashdown for Integrity and its 4 astronauts.
We can breathe.
We can. We just want to see them now, right? And they will get to the craft, the divers, and as I was mentioning earlier, I just don't like to talk over NASA because they're so fascinating. I'm having fun listening in on them as well. But they will check the exterior of the capsule to make sure that there isn't any significant damage, to make sure it's safe to open the latch.
The unofficial splashdown time, 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m. Central Time. We'll get that refined for you.
Well, now they're just showing off. They tell us it's exactly when we said it would happen.
31 minutes, 35 seconds.
There will be an initial
And
check.
we're configuring for a very low data rate.
They will initially check to make sure that all of the astronauts are feeling okay. And then they're going to take...
Splashdown occurring in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego at 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m.
Integrity Houston, comm check on VLDR.
Houston, we have you loud and clear on VLDR. How us?
We
There
have
you
you
see
the
the
same.
fast
We'll meet
boats
you over in
making their way to Integrity.
Perfect communications established.
We are told this is the first time that the U.S. Navy has teamed up with NASA to get to the crew on board, those 4 astronauts.
Houston, copies all.
3 Americans, 1
4
Canadian.
green crew members. That is not their complexion. That is the fact that they're in great condition. That's what that means. So stable 1, upright, the crew module uprighting system is being deployed, the 5 airbags being inflated through helium to maintain the upright configuration for the vehicle. This was a textbook entry and a textbook touchdown for integrity. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen back on Earth after a journey around the moon.
Yeah, that's going to be impressive at the Thanksgiving dinner to be able to say, we were the ones up there. We know that standing by are 2 Navy MH-60 helicopters. They actually have cameras on them. We're getting some of these images from those helicopters. They're going to be carrying them to the nearby ship, the USS Mirtha, which is waiting. They're going to put 2 of the astronauts on each helicopter. And I believe Christina Cook is going to be the first to emerge. Do we know who will emerge from the capsule?
Christina Cook is first.
Yeah. She'll be first, which seems appropriate. And Susan, you know all too well the relief, the sighs from these families waiting to see their loved ones.
We continue to monitor.
I imagine there were tears from all of them, every one of them, tears of joy, of relief, of happiness. They must have held their breath for the last 30 minutes.
Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members, meaning they're all in excellent shape.
Who knew that green crew members is code for excellent shape? Usually when you see someone green, although I wouldn't be surprised if they did look a little green after what they've just been through.
After that,
but that's not what it means. It simply means they are in great shape. The diver's reaching.
Our beacon is in 406, and we're firing the radio now. Go ahead.
We see the beacon on, however, the recovery team is not seeing the signal. Your SAW radio uses the same antenna, so you may run into trouble with the radio.
Okay, copy, and we're also firing up
So we're about to witness an extraordinary moment where we will see the hatch lifted, and then the astronauts, again, as I mentioned, will be checked for a quick medical evaluation before something far more extensive on board the USS Mirtha.
As the crew continues its post-splashdown,
They'll be taken away by those 2 helicopters.
On board, Reed Wiseman once again reporting that all 4 crew members are in excellent shape. And we have 5 inflated airbags to maintain an upright configuration.
I want to bring in Dr. Arian Anderson. He's an emergency medicine physician trained in aerospace engineering. You would know better than us that when you hear they're green, which means they're in excellent health, and we're hearing from the commander, Reed Wiseman, who's in the capsule, who says the rest of the 3 are in perfect health. That's got to be great news for you to hear too, Dr. Anderson.
After a thorough systems.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets, and that's kind of the first evaluation of the astronaut crew. Is they all kind of look left and right, give each other the thumbs up, and when the first recovery team gets there and takes a look in the hatch, they kind of do this similar and make sure that everybody's feeling okay before, you're right, they go on to do more extensive medical evaluation and even a little bit of research testing as soon as they get their feet on solid ground again.
They'll be given the opportunity to stay at a hotel in San Diego if they just want a little time to readjust before being taken to Houston. But Dr. Anderson, I gather they'll go straight to Houston. Look what they've just been through.
Yeah, I think they're probably eager first to see their families, eager to, I think, greet the people of the world and just celebrate this exciting journey we've all been on.
Cody Page also with us here tonight, National Geographic Explorer, professor of mechanical engineering at Columbia, and the former director of MIT Space Exploration Initiative. And Cody, I know you have studied all too well the reentry and the stakes, and knowing that heat shield, the job it had to perform, and we have witnessed history tonight. It did exactly as NASA was hoping.
Some trouble with the SARSAT phone on board. But that's not an issue. What is more important is
Cody, can you hear me?
The vehicle is solid.
Yes, yeah. It's honestly, sorry, I was listening to that there. It's been, the whole mission, I feel like, has just been incredible that it's been exactly how it's supposed to be. So the way that heat shield worked and the parachutes deployed and everything, the timing, it's a testament to exactly how perfectly NASA plans these things. It's so exciting.
It really is. Cody, thanks so much. Dr. Oluseyi also still with us. The anxiety gone? We wanted to check back in with you and make sure you're breathing okay.
Oh man, I had a huge sigh of relief when I saw that third parachute that looked like it was having a little trouble fully deploy, right? And now
Mission Control report
they've made it safely.
It's really incredible news. Now we just wait to see the divers get to the capsule and open the hatch. Hakeem, thanks so much. Asa Stahl, also with us, science editor from the Planetary Society.
Integrity, Houston did not call.
The history that's been made right here tonight with generations watching. And as I mentioned earlier, so many of our viewers remember the Apollo missions, but there are so many others who have not witnessed something quite like this before.
Yeah, this was truly spectacular. I mean, I realized I was holding my breath, but I was at the launch and it felt... Sorry, just...
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go. Yeah, you're
okay,
doing
cool.
just fine.
I just also heard the NASA broadcast. Yeah, it was at the launch just as almost surreal to see that we actually did it. It worked. And it was just so inspiring to see this is what we're capable of if we only try, if we make the investment in ourselves and in NASA. So I think a lot of people, millions of people around the world are seeing this and feeling inspired and ready to celebrate.
And Asa, take us through these next few steps, because this really was the first step in what could be an extraordinary next couple of years here. The next Artemis mission will do some additional testing, and then the one that follows could be the one that actually lands on the moon.
The three main chutes.
That's exactly right. And I tell you, after watching this, I can't wait for the next one. 2026 or 2027 could not come soon enough. That's when Artemis III will happen. As you just said, that's going to be another crewed flight test, but it's not going to go to the moon and back like Artemis II has. It's going to test out the spacecraft and docking procedures in orbit around Earth. And then Artemis IV, if all goes well, will happen in 2028, and that will be the actual lunar landing mission. And then it's hopefully off to the races.
And
NASA's
Asa,
trying to do this every 6 months.
And we know that 2 astronauts will be on board that mission to land.
Yes, that's right.
Really just incredible. And good for you for being at the launch as well, remembering both ends of this extraordinary journey.
15 minutes.
Let's listen into mission control.
Yeah. Power down delay.
All right, Jackie, we just selected T/D+30. No joy on SAR radio or sat phone. And stand by, we have the master diver on SAR radio. Please hold comms.
Hey, Lily. Excuse me. Hey, Jackie, we just got the master diver on SAR.
8:22 was the timing that NASA had said there would be a capsule power down, is what they call it. There is some word that power down might be somewhat delayed here, but you can see those teams.
Good view of one of the fast boats.
There you go.
Integrity Houston, if you are happy with your comm with Master Diver, you can go back to the 15-minute power down.
One of the fast boats circling Integrity right now.
Okay, stand by. Yeah, we'll confirm here in a second.
They were able to get
the crew on board Integrity coordinating with the flight control team in Houston here in Mission Control on the timing of the power down of the vehicle, which will be the precursor to the recovery teams approaching the spacecraft. There are no issues with Integrity. We've had a bit of broken capability in establishing a SARSAT or satellite phone communications capability between the crew on board Integrity and the recovery team. That will get sorted out here shortly.
Yeah, blame it on the satellite.
There's plenty of cooling
because
on
everything
board
else was
integrity.
picture perfect here.
So there's
if
no
you're wondering how
rush to
these
get
dive
on
teams
that.
are able to get here so quickly, it's because the USS Bertha, the amphibious naval ship, was just about 1.5 miles from the splashdown point. Will Reeve standing by in Southern California. And, well, I'm not sure if you heard the sonic boom, but off in a distance in the ocean there, this is picture perfect.
Yeah, David, there's a lot of folks out here at the beach who were hoping to hear the sonic boom. They kept coming by asking us if they were going to see the splashdown or hear it, and unfortunately, no dice. But everybody knows that out there, the crew safely splashed down, and that the rest of the protocols are happening as they should be. Every precaution being taken, every item on the checklist being taken care of, and a sense of excitement here in San Diego. This feels like these astronauts who went further than anyone has ever traveled before in the history of mankind, they returned here to Southern California. People are pretty excited about that here, even if they didn't hear the sonic boom. We were looking forward to that. Maybe next mission.
Maybe the next mission. There are going to be a couple more Artemis missions now that this one has been successful. You can see the teams in the water there. Just off the coast of San Diego. And as Will was saying, there's a lot of pride there in San Diego that they've been part of this history. Recovery teams are going to secure some lines here. They're waiting for the power down before they can get any closer to the capsule. Delayed, NASA says, because of some issues with the satellite communication.
Called the front porch. That will be the port of call for the crew as they're being extracted one by one from the vehicle.
You heard me mention the front porch that I had mentioned earlier. That's the inflatable, nicknamed front porch because they'll step out onto their porch and they've earned that moment.
Integrity Houston for sat phone. We are going to attempt to call you.
Good idea, standing by.
And Jackie, yes, we are pushing the push to talk, the two buttons on the left side of the radio below the up-down arrows. We are utilizing them. I'm rebooting the radio to see if we get good comms.
Okay, we copy all, and just to confirm, you are seeing that you are touchdown plus 3030 for power, correct?
Well,
that's affirmative.
NASA astronauts, they're just like us, rebooting the satellite phone to try to regain communication here before they can power down, Susan, and that's then the moment when the divers can really move in.
Right. It's like the power cycle that you do at home when your Wi-Fi isn't working, you know. It's the same sort of thing, but, you know, to have come this far and everything work well, and this is the thing that is delaying them getting out of the capsule, is almost comical. But I remember in the Apollo days, it was the same. Once the splashdown, any number of things could still go wrong. So, like I said, the families aren't going to breathe until they're out of the capsule and on the ship.
To begin the process,
which will happen soon.
The large inflatable raft.
The inflatable raft.
The front porch.
The front porch he's talking about.
Will be where the astronauts are extracted from, so that they can have a few minutes to get their land legs back before they're hoisted aboard the Navy helicopters for the flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha.
And Gio, you were lucky enough to talk to the astronauts at the very beginning of their journey.
I was the first, David. I realized that later on. 20,000 miles away they were, and we were able to speak with them, and it was remarkable because I remember speaking with Victor Glover and saying to him, you know, with so much division that we see in this country, what do you see when you look down on planet Earth? And he said, I see one. I see one humanity. And then there was that reminder that he had just before they lost communication the first time as they went around the moon, when he repeated those words from Jesus, when he said the greatest commandment is to love one another. And then we had that blackout behind the moon. It was remarkable to hear those really human stories.
No question about that. And, you know, these astronauts seem fully aware of, you know, the times that we're in and sort of the political divide and all of the stuff that we also take in on a daily basis. And they knew that what they were doing was hopefully achieving, sort of making history in their journey to the moon and back, and they certainly have done that. And they were, in this most recent press conference that they did on the eve of their return, very clear that while we have enjoyed these images and seen those moments where there was real camaraderie, I mean, the brothers and sister on that capsule in embracing one another, but most importantly, they wanted to be able to bring all of this back. They said they had so much more to do with what they had discovered while in space, what they had seen on the far side of the moon.
Is there any chance to fly us into NRD?
We know these teams will conduct a quick hazard assessment in the water before actually opening the hatch as well. There you see one of those MH-30 helicopters, MH-60 copters, which will transport the astronauts from the raft right back to the USS John Murtha, which is only about 1.5 miles from the splashdown site. We know in the first helicopter, mission specialist Christina Cook, pilot Victor Glover. Victor, of course, is the one who said it's like riding a fireball through the atmosphere, and they have landed now in the Pacific.
The establishment of communications between Integrity and the recovery team that is basically standing by very close to the spacecraft. We're going to go to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha, where Megan Cruz is standing by with Administrator Jared Isaacman.
The second helicopter will carry mission specialist Jeremy Hansen. Of course, the Canadian on board who made history as well, and Commander Reed Weissman. And Commander Weissman is the one who lost his wife, Carol. And it was that team in space together who decided, let's name one of the craters we've discovered and seen with our own eyes after Carol.
I'm honestly, I'm still at a loss for words. I mean, you know, like the childhood Jared right now can't believe what I just saw. I mean, almost been waiting my whole lifetime to see this, and then as NASA administrator, I just couldn't be more proud of the entire workforce, the years, the effort, the late nights, all the hard work from across the country that contributed to this incredible moment right now. And yeah, incredibly grateful too for our teams here on the John P. Murtha right now.
Yeah, look at the
I mean, we've got everybody. What do you guys think? We just brought some astronauts back from the moon, huh? Unbelievable. Thank you. Yeah, so grateful to the Navy, the sailors that are here, the NASA teams. I mean, this is a joint effort that's on their way right now. These recovery forces are getting out to our Orion spacecraft, to Integrity, to get our astronauts back on the ship safely.
That's the team at NASA celebrating their history being made as they should. As we await for communication between the dive teams and Integrity right there in the water.
Take away from this.
Well, I'll tell you, I think about the crew members that we've all had an opportunity to observe over the last 10 days, right? I mean, they're absolutely professional astronauts. I mean, wonderful communicators, almost poets. But then I think these were the ambassadors from humanity to the stars that we sent out there right now. And I can't imagine a better crew than the Artemis II crew that just completed a perfect mission right now. So yes, it's a huge moment for everybody, right? I mean, we are back in the business of sending astronauts to the moon, bringing them back safely, and to set up for a series more. I mean, this is not a once in a lifetime, which you hear sometimes around here. It's like, this was a once in a lifetime. No, it's not. This is just the beginning. We are going to get back into doing this with frequency, sending missions to the moon until we land on it in 2028 and start building our base.
I love that. He said that we are back in the business of traveling to the moon. Just a few moments left for this special report. And Susan, I just wanted your thoughts. I love that he said they were ambassadors of humanity, going to the moon and back, and now they've come back and they've really taught us all, reminded us all what unity really looks like.
Yes, they have done the incredible, and their lives have changed forever because they will forever be ambassadors for humanity.
Well, Susan, thank you so much for being here, former NASA astronaut yourself. We are going to come back on the air when we do see those astronauts for the first time. I look forward to showing you that moment. In the meantime, we'll go back to regular programming. I'm David Muir here in New York. We'll see you shortly to see the astronauts. Good night.